Hi, my name is Mike with Easty. Today we're going to be going over the SB-2EX drive motor coupler parts and replacements. So we're going to disassemble the motor end of the side belt, look at the components on the inside and which ones need to be replaced and how to replace those. All right, so we're going to take the pin out of here to loosen and take these two rollers off the back. Right now I'm going to use a small little Allen wrench key so I can get in here, pop the cotter pin out. It's going to slide out. I'll push it out and up. Take this, set it aside. Now these rollers are spring loaded on the shaft. So again, with the Allen wrench key, I use this to push out from the back. You kind of see in the frame. And then remove the roller out of the way. I'll show you that close here. And these are spring loaded. So this last one, take back here, find the shaft, push it out back, and then remove this roller out of the way. Now I have some area gap here we can work with. So what we're going to do next is taking the cover off, removing the belt, and then disconnecting the motor mount to the drive belt frame itself. Take the drive cover off, we'll take off the top two bolts here. And then this one's on the side, so then we can access everything. The cover off itself. Set this side. We're going to have to loosen the belt itself to take the tension out. And we'll loosen this. Have to go on the front end with the tensioner bolt, counterclockwise to release the pressure. This bolt. And take this bolt all the way out. Track of the nut on the bottom so don't lose that. The belt will come off. Set the parts aside. We'll take off the bolts from the top of the drive sprocket. There's one screw that holds this on, an M5. The bolt out, don't lose the lock washer and the washer. It secures it on there. Set that aside. Now this top drive pulley should be able to slide off. And there's a key in here, so be mindful of the key for the shaft. So we'll take that and set that aside too. So we have the drive pulley off. We're going to take an M3 metric 3 wrench, loosen, and take out the flathead screws. Again, these 6 screws attach the motor mount to the drive frame itself. As you can see, I'm just kind of loosening up and breaking them right away here. Not taking them all the way out yet. Now what I'll do, these 2 middle ones out all the way. Set them aside. Now I want to support the bottom of this, and then take the top 4 out. That way it doesn't fall down. Should pop out. Since we took the rollers out, we should be able to manipulate this and put this up to the top. There should be enough wire length to do this now. Now we can look and access the motor mount and the components inside. So we're going to disassemble the motor mount and show you the internal components here of the motor coupler. So we'll take from 6 wrench here, take off the motor from the motor mount. So after we have the screws out from the motor mount seat to the motor, we'll hold the top shaft here, and then we can pull up and take this assembly out. Now I'm holding this top shaft so everything doesn't fall out. We'll have half of the Lovejoy coupling. This will slide out. Keep it upright. Now the motor seat is disconnected from the shaft and the components of the shaft. So components on here will have a Lovejoy coupling, which will contain bottom half for the motor, the rubber seat, the top half for the shaft itself. Now this has 2 different diameter shafts, so you have to make sure that you have the larger diameter on the bottom, the smaller on the top. We'll have the spacer that's in here. We'll have a bearing that's in here. This bearing is smaller and different than the top bearing for the top of the motor seat. And then we'll have the shaft itself. So currently we'll take the Lovejoy coupling off of the shaft and loosen the one set screw here. Don't have to take it all the way out. Loosen the other set screw here, and this should slide out. Mindful of the key here. It's out of the way. And again, the Lovejoy coupling part will come as one piece that connects like so. So this is the motor shaft itself. On the motor seat, the bearing on the top side, which is the upside, is kind of difficult to take out. So what we want to do is from the inside, take a long screwdriver or object and lightly tap on the inner ring. What that's going to do, tap around in a 360-degree manner. That should pop out the bearing itself. Then we can replace this bearing on the top side. Alright, so installing the bearing in the top seat of the motor shaft, it's a real close fit, not a press fit. So we want to make sure that the sides go around evenly. So what we'll do, take a rubber hammer and tap around the sides gently, not to damage the bearing. And then the bearing should slide in just like that. Everything spins, so you know that it's flush and flat. We're good to go. So reassembling the components, we have the bearing in the top seat. We'll start with the shaft and the Lovejoy coupling. Again, there's 2 different diameters here, so we'll want to make sure that we have the right one. And we have the key. So put the key into the end of the shaft. The Lovejoy, slide it over. It should sit all the way at the bottom. You can turn and tighten the set screw. Second set screw. And then we can take off the bottom half of this and set it apart for the motor side later. Next, we will take the bearing and slide it down. Again, it's a close fit on the shaft, so we want to try to go smooth and evenly down the shaft as we push it down in. So get started, we'll slide it down. Slide it down to this bottom race here, again smooth and easy. Slide in like that. Next comes the spacer. Spacer on top, that's what spaces this apart and holds the bearing down. And lastly, we'll take the top seat. Now the bearing's in there, we can turn it upside down. You can see the inside here where the shaft is going to go through. So we'll set this down on top. See from the inside, the shaft is going to line. And then push it up and in. Hold this. Now you should have everything freely spinning and moving here. And what we'll do is going to take this, set this down, the top of the Lovejoy here, onto the motor itself. Keep this here, make sure the key's in the motor. Tighten the set screw. And we'll make sure that the surface so the key is flush here. Tighten the second set screw. Once we have that set, take the top C assembly. Again, we're going to have to line up the two teeth in here. And these are offset, so as you can see, the seat is going to go on only one way on this particular right side motor. So we'll get it lined up. Look where the teeth are internally here. Kind of get them about the position that we want, about the 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock position. Turn it over. Set it down here. We should be able to find out in the seat where it's at. And then press down. Snap in place there. Now you know that everything is aligned and proper. We can go ahead and replace the 4 bolts that hold the motor to the motor seat and the components. We kind of finger tighten them here. The motor, we'll take our M6 wrench, tighten this up. We're gonna make sure when we tighten these up, we have all the hardware here. There's gonna be a lock washer and a washer. And we'll do a final torque check once the motor's on the frame itself so we can help support it better. Once we have this set, we can slide this back down through the frame. Hold it from the top, come in the bottom, make sure the junction box is facing the front. We'll slide this up through here. And it should sit and seat right in the frame itself. And see where the flathead screws are going to go. So we'll take our screws. Line this. Start with the middle ones this time. Again, I'm going to tighten these, but not fully tighten them. So just kind of stick them down in there like that. Take this other middle one. This side. See, I didn't tighten it down because I want to make sure that I'm not cross-threading and this is seated properly. Okay, once we have this one down, started, go ahead and tighten these 2. I should center the other 4. See, I'm kind of going back and forth to make sure that come up equally. Set secure, can let go, and then replace the other 4. As you can see, by tightening those 2, now the other 4 will be aligned. Then go ahead and screw those in. Should be good with that. Now it's mounted to the frame. Since I'm down here, I can take my wrench and just double check that we have the motor mount screws tight enough here. As you can see, I can tighten a little more, but we have a sturdy mount now. Make sure these are nice and tight. These ones have to switch to a different wrench. So those are tight. Now I can put the drive roller with the key back onto the shaft. Line the key. Nice tight fit. Press it down. Set it there. Put the screw back on the top. Tighten this up. And we're done. Next, we'll put the belt back on. And remember, we have the idle pulley off. So this is loose here. You have the nut on the bottom. You want to keep with the orientation with this first hole facing forward and hold it here. Idle our pulley. Then we have the bolt that goes through everything. That will start threaded into the nut on the bottom. We'll get our idle adjust bolt here. Make sure that the orientation, the holes match up. Just kind of snug it up. Idle adjust bolt through the block. And we can tighten this up. Get started here. We'll keep this loose. And we can tighten this up as we go. See, now we're increasing the tension here. You're going to want to increase the tension to about an inch deflection in the middle of this section here. Right there. So once you have sufficient tension, make sure this is tight. Tighten that all the way. Now I can put the belt cover back on. Using the bolts that we had, the top piece, side piece, tighten up the screws here. Top. And lastly, once the cover's on, we can put the rollers in. Remember, they're spring loaded, so we'll start the spring loaded on the right side of the machine. This back one, and kind of feed it underneath, slide it over. Put it from the bottom up into the hole. Bring it up. Now, the spring-loaded side, we can simply press. It will pop into the hole here. Same goes with this last roller. From the bottom, feed it in till it hits the hole. Bring it up. Press the shaft in, put it in the second hole, hear it click, and then lastly, we'll put the cotter pin back in, line the holes, so get it through the last one, we'll push it all the way in, till it clicks, there's that. All right, thanks for watching the SB-2EX motor, seat, and component replacements. Hopefully that will help you go through the project and the parts. If you want any other part information or specifications, you can go on our website, easty.com. Thank you again.